Still raining, I'm afraid. We've got a couple of seagulls. That's all I can see on that outfield now. And they're strutting about. I suspect they're rather enjoying the weather, frankly. But there's still this low-grade cloud, and it's raining. And there's no obvious sign of any improvement at all. We've got another couple more of the England team. Actually, it's Chris Silverwood, actually. I think the coach, he's given up at the moment. And he's trudging across, not across the ground, but across the terracing to come back to the hotel as well, maybe for an afternoon nap, who knows. But there's a few characters I can see still by the dressing rooms down there, but a lot of them now have decamped. So, well, we'll hang on, we'll wait and see. And of course, if there's any cricket, we'll bring it to you. I hope there is, because what we did have today was intriguing.
I think it's fair to say the second test match at the Ageas Bowl will not rank quite as highly. It is still raining. We have had so little play in this test match, which is very frustrating because, I mean, from what we've seen so far, we've seen some dramatic cricket, some exciting cricket with the bowlers on top putting pressure on the batsmen. The situation at the moment, it's not raining particularly hard, and I can actually see some blue sky away to the left-hand side, suggestion that it will stop raining. The only problem is it's been raining quite steadily now for 2 or 3 hours. We had the situation yesterday where it stopped raining, and eventually they had a sort of inspection around about 4 o'clock, and then 4:30 and 5:15. The ground hadn't dried sufficiently, so I think we are racing against time. In the play that we have seen so far today, we've seen a couple of wickets fall. Pakistan were bowled out for 236. Mohammad Rizwan, who played really well, was eventually caught by Crawley in the covers, miscuing a leg side stroke off Broad. He got a leading edge and the ball ballooned in the air, so he was out for 72. That was 236 all out. Broad taking 4 for 56, so 26 wickets in the summer at 12.38. And then England came out for a handful of overs, 5 overs, and it was really difficult out there. Burns was out for naught. He was nearly out first ball. He eventually was out in the same over, though, caught by Sad Shafiq at slip of Shaheen Afridi, and there was lots of playing and missing, and Crawley and Sibley survived. Probably quite grateful actually to get off when the light closed in and the rain started to fall. So we've had no play since midday. We've been trying to entertain you. Mark Ramprakash is with me, so too is Atif Nawaz. What do the players feel in a situation like this, Ramps? I mean, it must be quite difficult. We've had so little play, just to actually stay focused on the game.
Well, I think it's particularly difficult for Rory Burns just at the moment. Opening is always difficult at the best of times, but that was always likely to be a fairly short session. The rain was forecast around the corner, and he bumped into Shaheen, who got it absolutely right first over. He bowled very, very, very well, got the ball pitched up, and also, importantly, had made the batsman play. So, Rory Burns, he's got to be fairly philosophical about life at the moment, which can be tough. We heard Zach Crawley talking about, I think a few card games going on in the dressing room, and suggesting that perhaps one or two of his teammates weren't playing by the rules.
Yeah, Josh Butler, one of them. I wouldn't have put him down as...
Well, he's competitive, I tell you, yeah. Josh Butler. I mean, he's got this sort of angelic look to him at times, but he puts his foot in when he's playing football. I know that. He does get up and down the pitch, so... they do a bit of cards. Of course, they've got other various ways of keeping themselves interested, and some will go to the gym, some may go to the indoor school, hit a few balls, but most will probably relax and get the Xbox and a bit of music.
Yeah, frustrating for all of us. Frustrating for Pakistan, Atif, because they were causing a lot of problems, those opening bowlers.
They did indeed, yeah. There was that extended spell where England couldn't quite get off the mark. There was sort of 14 dot balls in a row at the top of the innings, and they were creating a lot of pressure, a lot of noise, and we were just having a closer look at what they were saying in Urdu, and there's a few languages floating around this Pakistan team. They speak a bit of Urdu, a bit of Punjabi, a bit of Pashto, and so much encouragement for the bowlers, so much noise, even for a very resolute block. They really felt like they were in it. They didn't seem like, as Rams just said, like Rory Burns, a little bit out of sync with the game, as you'd expect after a long gap. Whereas those Pakistani bowlers came in there well into the game, really believed it. At one point, one of them said, "Jitna jaldi karenge, utna hamare fayde mein hoga," which means as quickly we need to get around the field quickly because it'll work to our advantage. So they were all still thinking quite tactically. So if it stays dry, we're in this game, we want to win this game, get back in the series. There wasn't really any kind of lackadaisical stuff going on, no phoning it in.
Yeah. England still needed 30 to avoid the follow-on when the players came off. That's fanciful. Although, I mean, I do remember England being 27 for 9 in Auckland. I mean, who knows what's possible with an England batting lineup. We're talking about Pakistan being unpredictable, England an extremely unpredictable side as well. But if they could bowl England out cheaply, then just crack on and then have a go for 3 hours tomorrow, something like that at England, and see if they could make something happen. But I mean, it's really you're battling against the weather here. I think it's nearly stopped raining. It's very close. It is brightening up. That blue sky is coming towards the ground. The only problem is a light later on. Okay, we might get some sun possibly, who knows, but also the wetness of the ground, and also that sort of dry, that willingness to play, which we didn't really see yesterday. Just one thing, Ramps, it strikes me as well about we're back-to-back test matches down here. What about the groundsman preparing the pitch for the next game on Friday? His cover's on. He can't get out there and work very much. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, actually. And I thought this pitch looked a really good test pitch. And it's such a shame that we've not had more dry weather, because I think it would have proved to be... it would have dried out. It would have been good for batting in terms of the ball coming onto the bat. And would have provided a really good contest, a fair contest, I think. But because it's been undercover so much, and it clearly juiced up, and today the cricket that we saw, I mean, the ball jagged around prodigiously, didn't it? It's not really a fair reflection. And so how does the groundsman get on to a pitch which is probably 2-3 strips away from this one? His windows of opportunity are small, aren't they? And so whether he's done some work prior to this test match to get it in a state of readiness quicker, I don't know. But there's certainly not been a lot of opportunity to get the covers off and to work on that particular strip. I mean, it's highly unlikely, but I'm just wondering, I mean, in county games, if there's not been much cricket played on one particular strip, they may start a test match on a used pitch. What are the chances of that?
Well, reconstitute it. I mean, I saw that happen in the West Indies with a one-day pitch once, and you thought, well, this pitch is going to be pretty ropey for the next game. It was in Antigua 2 days later, but actually they managed to piece it together pretty well, and the pitch wasn't too bad. But you're talking about a test match pitch. Not an easy thing to do, but it is a consideration. If we get more rain tomorrow, and then who knows, between this game and the next game, which starts on Friday, it could be quite spicy for the batsman again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be. I mean, any cricket that we do get to see is going to be very, very exciting, as proven by that first session. It was all the way through. It was just must-watch, very dramatic and everything. So I think when they get back out there, I think it'll be quite exciting either way. Sadly, there might not be much context to it, because it seems any chance of a positive result in this game is pretty much gone. So all we can really see is hopefully, we'll see some, fine exhibition cricket, a bit of skill on display, and a bit of use of conditions, and maybe a little bit of recce work for that last test match. Yeah,
I mean, actually, sometimes we get to the last day of a test match and there's bad weather around. The umpires say, okay, well, there's no chance of result, let's call it off, because there is some incentive to play for both these two teams to get some practice in ahead of the final game.
There is without doubt, but I think that the umpires need to take the overarching idea of, is a result possible? And if there isn't one, then to my understanding, the game is called to a halt.
You can bring it to an early hold, but I think you've got to play a certain amount tomorrow if the weather's okay.
Well, if they do have to play a certain amount, then Atif's absolutely right. They'll be looking to find some positives, both teams, and from Pakistan's point of view, they'll be looking to, cause a few problems with the ball and take out a few batters for low scores, just to give them a little bit of uncertainty and lack of confidence going into that last test match on Friday.
Yeah, it'd be great to see Fawad Alam bat as well. Talking about Rory Burns, poor old Fawad, he's had to wait all that length of time out for naught. I think he's been on the field for about 35 balls in his 4 days of Test cricket.
You really feel for him. I mean, the anticlimax of it. Well, I mean, it feels like an anticlimax for somebody watching, but just imagine the misery and anxiety that hangs over you for even longer, because you've got this prolonged breaks to just think about it. If you're in the field, you can sort of mini redeem yourself with a nice dive in the deep, or maybe a catch or a run out chance. There's little ways you can redeem yourself, but the poor guys just had to sit there and think about it non-stop, relentlessly for the last 3 days. We can only imagine what goes through his head. I hope, and I have high hopes for this Pakistan coaching setup. Someone like Yunus Khan is quite a positive figure, quite a happy, smiley figure. He would have given him some confidence, had a chat with him, told him to get past it. Yunus himself, they were rare, but he had a few lean spells, and hopefully he can relate some of that experience back to him.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he did touch the ball once in the field. He definitely touched the ball. I mean, it's incredible, really, isn't it? He's so. I mean, normally you get to field for a day and a half, even if you get naught or something. You get to field in a Test match, but he's barely been out there. So that's the situation here at the Ageas Bowl. It's so rare, actually. We do get rain interruptions in Test cricket, but it's so rare we get to the final day without the prospect of a positive result for one team or the other these days in England, because the drainage is so good, and normally we get that window. Anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to say goodbye to our Radio 4 long wave listeners now.